Through the pages of A Ghost. A short story by Shaji John. I woke up so suddenly. Still with the eyes could not be kept open, I groped for the mobile phone that was placed near to the wall on the bed. In a shudder, I saw that the time was 4:20 p.m. Just 10 more minutes for the company bus to leave. I leaped down. Surprisingly, the previous day's office-going trousers and shirt were yet on my body. For a moment I stood incredibly incomprehensible of how I could have lied down without even removing off the safety shoes. Nevertheless, it seemed a blessing in disguise that with only 5 minutes left for the bus to leave I would not have time to dress up myself and get ready. Surprisingly, in just 5 minutes I washed the face and limbs and combed the hair and was there at the door of the bus, which was already on move. I threw myself onto the usual seat that was kept vacant for me. For a while, I sat panting. Having jerked the head, I threw a glance over everyone on the bus. I did not notice particularly anyone staring at me for being unusually late. In this desert, being away from near and dear ones and homeland, who does have a pleasant mind to brood over others than over himself? I thought. As always, Vinod in the back seat was engaged in lovemaking with his lover in India over the phone. On either way, whether he made the call or not, he appeared heartbroken on account of his vehement passion for his lover. The severe rankling stemmed from a fact that the girl was studying in a mixed college where many smart and influential male gallants were friends of hers. Out of his earnest wish to fly to her, he always kept declaring that he was going home. But a sudden quitting and going home would land him in dire problems that the very purpose of seeking a job in abroad to save enough amount to build a home and marry her would not materialize. Vinod was in between the sea and the devil. An elderly Nepali man who sat on the left side of the bus had been very gloomy for a month because his daughter had eloped with a man who already had a wife and children. The toilet cleaner at the site was perhaps the only man who appeared jolly. In fact, that jolly mood was the effect of local made cheap liquor. Not being drunk, I cannot clear the toilets of the labours. He always excused for being drunk. Realizing that the disturbing thoughts would further ruin my hurt mental plight, I groped in my pockets for the mobile to hear some music and get a little relief. The mobile was not in the pockets of trousers and the shirt. Quickly I looked for the carry bag to search in it. Where is the bag? Oh, in my hurry I forgot to take it. If Jisha is with me, she would have definitely taken care of these things, such as waking me up, readying my dress and food, and sending me off. The nostalgic feeling gripped me tightly. Now almost a year has completed since I left her. Again, one more year left to see her and the children. It seems my money and parcels, those reach her regularly, are not relieving her from the earnest desire to be with me. How has my Jisha, who was shy and timid even to go to a nearby shop, been managing the household matters in my absence? My children Nash and Dash might have grown up. They might be very busy riding the new bicycle. A cycle has been their long demand. Thank God, finally it is met. When Elle left, Dash was just 2 years old. He went asleep only in my arms. The feel of Dash, very light and soft, lying on me with a gentle inhale and outhale of breath, was perhaps the most enthralling and darling experience in my life. Being in the company of Nash used to thrill me beyond description. A recollection of those tantalizing memories keeps off of any amount of distress and troubles. Yet their absence had stolen the mirth and delight from my life. Oh, when will I have a chance to see them again? I never kept myself away from them for such a long time. The only satisfaction is that all these agonies are for them only. I sighed. But one has only a single life. One does an injustice to one by bringing into his life these kinds of distressing and unpleasant situations and hurting himself. Nothing could match this lose of happiness, whether it is for money or fame. God, I never want this kind of life. I don't want to leave them again. I want to live with my dear Jisha, Nash, and Dash. Just one more year here in this foreign country. By that time I could make enough amount to build a small house and buy some ornaments for Jisha and save some amount for the studies of the children. The bus reached the construction site by 5:30 p.m. The night shift people should take charge of the site works by 6:00 as the day shift people leave the site. Usually, I waited on the bus itself until it was 6:00 enjoying the music from the mobile phone. With no mobile to hear the music, I simply closed the eyes. I did not know exactly when I fell asleep. When I got up only I realized that I had been sleeping. It was 5 minutes to 6:00. I hurried down through the day shift laborers who struggled vociferously to get into the bus. Amazingly, none of them uttered an abusive word or threw a glare in spite being pushed back by me. On getting into the store, I experienced waves of shudder. There was the day shift storekeeper, Jack from the Philippines, yet on the chair. I managed well, not to exhibit the shock and wished him. But Jack sat haughty and proud without responding to me. He behaved as if he was not aware of my presence. I controlled my resentment over being humiliated and moved to Raj, the store helper, and said, "I shall make the entries meanwhile you hand over the tools." However, not minding my order, he continued entering the labor's name. I wanted to shout but checked myself and sat on a stool. A Bengali who came for a pair of hand gloves began yelling in his full voice. "Weekly only one pair is given to a labor," Raj said, "but that is torn, see." The Bengali exhibited a tattered pair of gloves. "With one use, these are getting torn. We are helpless. We must follow the project manager's instruction." Jack cried out from his chair. "Replace those torn pieces with a new pair," I ordered. Shockingly, Jack and Raj behaved as if they did not hear me. Not even the Bengali did give any significance to my words. He went away muttering. I sat frozen. Am I sacked from the post of the storekeeper? Even if so, they could at least convey the news to me. Leave alone these uneducated people, the educated project manager should have informed me. What on earth? I must hear it directly from the project manager. I went out of the store and strode straight into the chamber of the project manager. Unfortunately, he was not in the chamber, he had already left. My pride did not allow me to go back into the store. The store people's behavior was more than insulting. I climbed up the stairs and got into the restroom and placed myself in a chair. It has become an extraordinary day. Lately, it is very bitter and distressing. Yet again sleep conquered me gently. I got up only when it was the meal break. Perhaps it was the loud utterings and laughs of the foreman gathered in the restroom, woke me up. For a while, I sat perplexed and ridiculous for having slept during duty time. I do not know what has happened to me, I am so weak today. In my endeavor to wriggle out of the unpleasant situation, I simply said. But they were so immersed in their communication that they seemed not to have heard me. And then an absolute silence was brought among them, with a member of the safety crew hurried into and said something. I sharpened my ears. Might be somebody sleeping. No, he lies in a pool of blood. On the ground in the core wall. They had had a few exchanges of dialogues among them before all in the room were up on their feet. I too got up and rushed out and headed for the core wall. There was already a gathering consisted of the engineers and safety officers at the opening to the core wall. Pushing aside, I got through the gathering and came front. Stretching forward, I looked down. I stood frozen. Fell from the 6th floor. He might have fallen down yesterday. Yes, he was missing since yesterday. How tragic it is that nobody came to know about it until now. The people in the gathering exclaimed in horror. It took a few seconds for me to realize and accept that it was me lying dead in the core wall. The same black trousers and white shirt and the safety shoes of me. I realized that I was already dead. Immediately I experienced having been caught by the spine. Gradually I felt being dissolved into the air and being blown away.
Please share and subscribe this YouTube channel. Thank you.